Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Tina Worthy from the Chartered Institute of Ergonomics and Human Factors, and I'm very pleased to be coordinating this awards event for the very first time in this particular online format. We've tried to make it as close to the real thing as we can, as you'll see as we go along. Now, I'm joined by the Institute's Chief Executive, Norman Rashid, who will be hosting tonight's proceedings, and I'll pass over to him in a short while. But first of all, let's just explain how this will work. So I've already seen that you found the chat box, which is fantastic, and please say hello, make comments throughout the event. We'd love to hear who you are, where you're from, and what you do. It'll also give you the chance, of course, to congratulate the winners as we announce each award. So obviously everything that you enter into chat will be seen by everyone else at this event. So please keep your comments respectful, polite, and inclusive. If you have any tech or connection issues, or you can't see or hear what's going on, please check your Wi-Fi or phone signal first. Please also ensure that wherever possible, you use a browser other than Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge for the best experience. Often just dropping out and coming back in again will be all that's needed to reset your connection and get things working. Now, I can see just about in the chat that many of you are from various countries, but what we'd like to do now is something that we haven't tried before. I probably shouldn't say that, but we're trying to get you all on stage to see if we can swing the camera around to you and see who's here. So you can give us a wave and say hello, only if you want to, of course. So the first thing is look for a participants box just above the chat. You should then see your name in it. Now, what I'm going to do is just enable this platform to see us. So you should see an icon to the right of your name, just as I change this to a different format. Right, you'll see a little dialog box come up there, but don't worry about that. If you click on the camera icon, I knew Sarah would be first. If you click on the camera icon next to your name, we should be able to see and hear you, and hear you all at once. Amazing, this is working. Well, hello everyone.
Hello.
Right, give us a wave and cheer and whatever else. Fantastic. Thank you all of you arriving there. Hi Gary, Martin from Australia, great to see you. I'm not going to say anybody because I'll miss somebody out and that would be a bad thing. So great to see you. I wasn't sure how many people we could get up on screen, so I think we probably reached our limit now. So that's great. That's really good to see you. Okay, to make this bearable, we're going to swing it back around again and get on with the proceedings. Okay, good to see you. Okay, I think we're back again. So great to see so many of you on screen there. I know you couldn't all get on screen, so sorry if you were disappointed by that, not being able to see yourself there. So what else have I got to say? So for some of the awards, we'll be offering the winner the chance to come up on stage so you congratulate them in person and they can say a few words. But again, only if the winner wishes to and if the technology allows it to happen easily. So we'll see about that as well. Now, so if you hear your name announced as a winner, congratulations, first of all, and then you may see an invitation on screen for you to turn your camera and mic on, and so please look out for that. Now, there's lots of turning on and off of mics for myself and Norman and tonight, so please bear with us, and there'll be no prizes for anybody shouting in chat, you're on mute. So we'll try our best here. Okay, I think we're ready now to get the show underway. So I'm going to hand over to Norman, who's our host for tonight, and he's going to be introducing the awards, which will then be announced by the judges. Okay, fantastic. Okay, Norman, it's over to you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed, Tina. And thank you for indulging in playing with the technology. I knew you couldn't resist that. Welcome everybody from every part of the world. And I notice we have some colleagues from Australia, Colombia, Mexico, India, Iran, Malaysia, and Tom Stewart from Colchester. So welcome all of you to our ceremony of awards for tonight. The Chartered Institute of Ergonomics and Human Factors presents a number of awards each year to recognise and celebrate excellence in the research and practice of ergonomics and human factors. We've seen some amazing entries this year. It's, as usual, gives the judges a little bit of work to do. Luckily, there were no fights. I've not been able to see anyone in person, so not noticed any injuries. It's great to see so many of you here supporting our community of ergonomists and human factors professionals. We've got a lot to get through tonight, so I hope you do have a drink or some refreshments for this evening, and we will finish on time. Okay, let's start introducing the awards. Each award will be explained by a member of the judging panel, many of them past presidents of our institute, who make up the honours committee. They'll also be revealing the winners. Okay, we'll start with our first award for early career professionals, beginning with the Best Student Project Award introduced by Dr. Claire Dickinson.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very pleased to have been involved in judging this year's CIEHF Awards. This award is for the best postgraduate student thesis in ergonomics and human factors. Nominations are submitted by course leads or tutors from the student's university and reflect the very high standard of work undertaken by students in carrying out their master's level projects. All the entries showed great maturity and depth of research, covering very important topics. We'll now hear about their projects direct from the highly commended finalists, Finny and Ralph, Hannah Lynch and Joanne Bake, before we reveal the winner.
Using video data from 2 on-road driving studies, the purpose of my thesis was to identify face-touching behaviour undertaken by drivers during routine driving activities, and utilise this data to inform best practice guidelines and design interventions to reduce transmission risk in a driving context. Now, during this award ceremony, who's touched their face or ruffled their hair? Face touching, the act of touching one's hair, face, neck and shoulders, is a habitual behaviour that's been studied in a variety of human settings, including a simulated train environment where it was roughly 18 times per hour, and a postgraduate office where it was all the way up to 98. Now, why does touching our face matter? As we move through built environments such as supermarkets and offices, we make contact with the environment around us either through respiratory droplets or direct touch. As the symptom onset of coronaviruses can be as long as 14 days, there is the potential for unknowingly infected individuals to be shedding particles onto these public surfaces. Self-inoculation is a process whereby individuals with contaminated hands touch other areas of their body, notably of the T-zone and the mucous membranes of the eyes, the mouth and the nose. Driving is an essential daily activity worldwide and was considered a necessity during lockdown for essential work and food shopping. Now, we start to see the problem: dirty hands and face touching. So, my study, the face touching frequency was roughly 26 times per hour in the driving context, and this was carried out with predominantly the non-dominant hand and specifically the palm side of the hand and the fingertips and thumb. What does this mean for reducing transmission risk in a driving context? Number 1, reinforcement of hand washing practices, specific focus on the fingers and thumb tips as the areas of the hands currently frequently missed when hand washing. Number 2, physical barriers to transmission, a continued use of masks in vehicles as this reduces face touching behaviour, and a placement of hand sanitizer on the dashboard. Lastly, a reinforcement on hand rolls within daily activities, so the dominant hand should be used for surface contact such as at the supermarket, petrol stations. Lastly, driver monitoring systems. Can they shout at us, hands off your face if you go to pick your nose while driving? We'll see. Thank you.
So the background to my thematic analysis of fatigue management processes in shift work industries is that as human factors practitioners, we tend to know what good practice guidance is for shift scheduling and fatigue management. But unless we get involved, we often don't know what fatigue management really looks like in practice. So the purpose of this research, which was completed with support from EDF Energy, is to understand how companies in a range of industries manage fatigue and how that compares with relevant good practice guidance. To understand the factors that must be balanced in fatigue management and how priorities might differ between different organisations and different industries, and to facilitate a kind of knowledge share between companies by highlighting where gaps are likely to appear in fatigue management and the effective ways that fatigue is managed really in practice. So I interviewed a number of people involved in shift work from 6 different industries and carried out a thematic analysis on the data. And that identified the 6 main themes shown on screen. Other than those main themes, some interesting findings highlighted by the work was the extent of individual variation in shift workers coping with fatigue and preferences around fatigue management, a taboo around fatigue which prevents people from reporting when they feel tired at work, which is certainly improving, however definitely still exists and is something we should really work hard to remove, as it means that fatigue risk often goes unnoticed and therefore can't be mitigated. And lastly, it revealed the need for improved education for shift workers on the impact of fatigue and how to get good quality sleep. I hope that people involved in the management of fatigue are able to access this kind of research and draw from the examples of fatigue being managed well, which were outlined in the paper. As I mentioned earlier, EDF Energy supported the research, and a number of the participants I spoke with have also been provided with the findings, so it is serving its function of facilitating knowledge share between organisations, which will hopefully serve to improve the fatigue management processes and hence reduce fatigue risk amongst shift workers in those organisations.
Hello, my name is Joanne Bake. I'm a recent graduate of the Master of Science in Ergonomics and Organizational Behavior program at the University of Derby. My independent research study was completed in a long-term care home located in Ontario, Canada. In Ontario, there's a worsening struggle to recruit and retain staff to provide care for the growing senior population. So this led me to investigate the relationship between amotivation, job satisfaction, job performance, turnover intention, and motivational factors in long-term care workers. The motivational factors were further broken down into 2 categories of intrinsic and extrinsic motivational factors, which included achievement, recognition, remuneration, and perceived autonomy support. The study also investigated the impact of these 4 motivational factors on amotivation in long-term care workers. According to the results of the small study, implementing work initiatives that address the intrinsic motivational factor of achievement may decrease the amotivation and turnover intention and increase job satisfaction experienced by long-term care workers. And it's important to note that the results of the study regarding the association between job performance, recognition, and remuneration with amotivation were actually inconsistent with previous studies. This was potentially due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the mental health, emotional dissonance, and emotional exhaustion of the long-term care staff, which in turn may have affected their level of amotivation. Thus, further research is warranted to examine the relationship between these factors and amotivation. In conclusion, the theoretical implications that increasing staff motivation can increase job satisfaction and decrease turnover intention was supported. I would like to thank Yasuhiro Kotera and Melinda Lyons, as well as the Sheridan Village long-term care team, and my family and friends, especially my sister Diane Bake, for their unwavering support to complete this study. Thank you very much.
And the winner is Finian Ralph for his project, An Analysis of Drivers' Face-Touching Behaviour, Implications for the Spread of COVID-19. This was a very original idea, an interesting read, and was excellently presented. The tutor's comment says it all. This project is potentially one of the most significant pieces of work I've had the pleasure to supervise in the 20 years I've been an academic. Congratulations to all the finalists and to Finian. our winner of our Best Student Project.
Now, Finian, I don't think was here when I explained earlier that we might bring the winners onto the stage to congratulate them in person and just say well done. So I can see that he is here now. So Finian, if you can hear me, I'm just going to invite you onto the stage. If you don't want to come, that's fine. Don't worry. But I'm going to do that now. So just look out for something on your screen, and we'll see if we can bring you in on stage now. We're just going to give it a second or two to see if he's here. It was a great project, I think. And I can see Finian's typing. Okay, so I think some great projects there. Don't you agree, Norseman? The three really good, interesting things, really topical and important.
I think, Tina, I was really so proud of all of those students and their presentations. They look smart, they look keen, they look like they knew everything about the topic that they were speaking about. I've spent 4 days at the IEA Congress, and any one of them could have been presenting their work, quite frankly, at the IEA Congress. Okay, shall we move ahead, Tina?
Yeah, I think we'll do that.
Okay,
I know it's
brilliant. We've got 10 awards this evening. We're on number 2 here, so you can keep track of how we're doing. Next, we have an award for New Ergonomist of the Year. It's really important that we recognise and encourage new talent, whether it's someone coming straight from school, then to university, or it's a career changer for them, someone who started out in ergonomics at a different point. Here's Amanda Widdowson, our immediate past president, to explain more.
Hello. One of my roles as past president is to chair the Honours Committee, and it's a great privilege to be involved in the process and oversee the judging of the awards in that role and the finalising of the winners. This award is to recognise those individuals making an impact at the start of their career in ergonomics and human factors. Highly commended this year is Emily Catlow. 6 years from graduation, she's had multi-sector experience in rail, nuclear and offshore. She's already become a great ambassador for human factors and regularly manages and inspires other graduates. Congratulations to Emily. Now, the winner this year has an excellent academic performance and demonstrates outstanding professional conduct and impact on her work colleagues, given her short career so far. Her nominee said that from the moment she started, she was an asset to the business, being quietly confident, conscientious, and wise beyond her years. She's been involved in the development of concepts and control. That's about AI and autonomy, very relevant now, for future military aircraft. It's a hugely complex area. It needs the acquisition and retention of significant amounts of information. And this has meant she's had to create good working relationships with many people from multidisciplines, which is what we like to see in human factors. The guidelines that our winner has developed are already being applied on 2 different programs, including the Tempest Future Cockpit program. She's presented the philosophy to many different stakeholders across the business, from fellow human factors engineers to senior managers and capability leads. So I can now reveal with my gold envelope that the winner is Lucy Crabb. Congratulations, Lucy, very well deserved. Cheers.
Well, again, I think it's really nice to see some great talent there. This award is particularly for those who have just started out in their career. They may be straight from university, or they may be further on in their career. But it's great to see some real talent there, getting into some really responsible jobs early on.
Okay, thanks for that, Tina. I can't believe Lucy's actually working on the Tempest. So early on in her career, there'll be a lot of jealous blokes out there thinking, oh, I wish I was working on that amazing project. Okay, let's move on to our third award of the 10 this evening. The next award is for Outstanding Communications. It's one of the most popular categories this year and has resulted in, actually on this one, a great deal of difficulty for the judges, because so many of us have actually taken up the opportunity to look at how we're communicating, what we do more effectively, from individual projects to long-standing efforts to bring human factors information to the masses. Here's Ian Randall from our Honours Committee to tell us more about this year's nominations. Ian.
Hello everybody. I'm really pleased to be able to introduce this award. The value of our profession, the ways in which we work, or even the recommendations we make can be hard to get across to those without a background knowledge of human factors. So it's important that the Institute encourages good communications in any form. This year's nominations were varied and very interesting and showed real empathy with their respective audiences. We'll hear now from the shortlisted entries before we reveal the winner.
Welcome to 1202, the Human Factors Podcast, the podcast that covers all things about humans, technology, and particularly the bit in between, with your host, Barry Kirby.
Welcome to not an episode, but an overview of the 1202 Human Factors Podcast. The fundamental aim of the podcast is to raise awareness of human factors here in the UK, but selfishly, it's also a brilliant excuse for me to catch up with friends and colleagues, as well as meet some amazing new people. The podcast was launched in the same year as the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 landing, so it seemed right to me to name it after the error code that no one really understood and that nearly scuppered everything. In terms of content, I've interviewed people who just exude massive enthusiasm for what we do, such as Phil Nutley and Chris Avis, who were my first proper interviewees, and not to mention Bob Stone, who was supposed to be talking about human factors in augmented reality, but we found ourselves including human factors skills in chicken deboning as well. The podcast has great international following, and I've been lucky enough to talk to some overseas guests, including human factors practitioners at NASA working on the Orion program, and people as far away as New Zealand. We have covered useful topics from CPD, the useful standards in human factors, to working from home during the pandemic, as well as interviews with government ministers on digital leadership and digital policy.
Thank you for listening to 1202, the Human Factors Podcast. Please do get in touch with your thoughts, questions, and comments. You can contact us at www.barrykirby.co.uk and on Twitter at @BAZ_K. See you next time. And remember, it's more than just common sense.
The Healthcare Safety Investigation Branch was established in 2017 as the first national level healthcare investigation organisation. We identify and address system level patient safety risks. We promote human factors thinking to healthcare audiences to encourage a systems approach. We've been involved in national investigations across a range of healthcare settings. We support the communication of human factors thinking to a disparate audience across healthcare organisations. We utilise graphics and simplified explanations for non-specialist audiences to help support an accessible understanding of human factors methods.
One of our biggest achievements was our investigation into understanding and managing the risks associated with hospital transmission of COVID-19, which we applied human factors to adopt a systems approach and apply the principles of the hierarchy of control. But we recognise these may not be accessible for a healthcare audience and sought a way to communicate the investigation findings in a more practical and visual way. We used several different methods, such as link analysis, which helped to produce a heat map setting out a typical ward environment to communicate the potential risks in a tangible and relatable way for frontline healthcare staff. This helped to highlight hotspots for the transmission risks in a ward environment.
We developed a tool for use by healthcare staff, from frontline workers to executives. The tool incorporated SEEPs and the hierarchy of controls to help staff easily identify transmission risks and a range of mitigations. The tool was designed for a hospital environment, but reflects common transmission risks that could occur in other healthcare and non-healthcare settings. Factors influencing the risk of transmission are clearly identified, and we ask, what are you doing to control the risk? Several organisations provided positive feedback about how the tool was able to be used in communicating complex human factors concepts in an accessible and interactive way to a non-specialist audience to help improve patient and staff safety.
Hi, my name's Susie Broadbent and I'm the Engineering Manager of the Human Factors Shared Service at BAE Systems Wharton. I've been asked to put this video together for the Chartered Institute of Ergonomics and Human Factors Outstanding Communications Award. Hooray! As part of my job at BAE, I have the extraordinary opportunity to work on a future combat air system, also known as Tempest. It allows us to do lots of really cool human factors work. And that's why I get to talk a lot to the media, to cadets, to the RAF, various people like that. Oh, the Prime Minister. All these people have come in to visit us and come and see some of the work that we've done. So I've got an interview next week, I think, with the Financial Times. We've also had the BBC in, Forces News, I think Sky News are coming as well at some point, and I've spoken to various publications such as The Economist, The Engineer, and a lot of other professional press like that. All really interested in the work that the team are doing in terms of novel HMI technologies, psychophysiological monitoring and neuroergonomics, and the general concept of control of what is a future aircraft going to look like, what is the human going to be responsible for, what is the machine going to be capable of doing. So lots of really interesting things for me to talk about. Through the work of the CIEHF, I've also managed to do a number of webinars over the last year or so, including one on neuroergonomics and fast jets, one to support the launch of the future white paper for future aviation, and another one coming up with myself, Jean Page, Lucy Twigg and Fiona Kaiser from BAE, talking about all the aircraft we've worked on in our time at BAE and how things have changed over time. So look out for that one too. Obviously, behind the scenes of all this event is a brilliant human factors team behind me. And not just the human factors guys, but the guys from simulation and the air crew and all the amazing people who help us do the job that we do.
Hi everyone, I'm Martin Anderson and I'm pleased to have been nominated for the Institute Communications Award. I showed my wife the first draft of this video message and she said, When pushed, she said it was a bit dull. And had I forgotten that it's for a communications award? So hopefully version 2 is a little bit better. In 2016, I decided to start a website. After all, how hard could it be? Turns out there's domains, keywords, search engine optimization, Google Analytics, images, menus, widgets, marketing. And if there's any time left after all of that, there's the actual writing of content. Yes, I can confirm that producing a website requires a lot of writing. I should probably tell you the name, shouldn't I? It's humanfactors101.com. I drew this cartoon of Homer Simpson and just carried on from there. I just wanted to provide a starting point for people who were new to the topic, hence the name 101. With links to credible, freely available further reading. 5 years later, and it's becoming pretty popular, with readers coming from over 140 countries, and the website is available in 100 languages, thanks to those clever people at Google Translate. Many international companies have included my content in their training courses, and several universities have shared the website with their students. However, I was really happy, probably more happier than I should have been, when my website was listed as the #1 search result on Google for a particular keyword, and that's happened several times since then. Please visit the site, tell me what you think. Constructive feedback is always welcome. Thank you.
And this year, we have joint winners. The first is the Healthcare Safety Investigation Branch. This is for their national investigation reports, which help to drive improvements in patient safety through clear messaging and illustrations. The second winner is Martin Anderson's Human Factors 101 website. The great choice of relevant topics and the accessible presentation makes this website very valuable to the Human Factors community. I'd also like to say both Barry Kirby's 1202 Human Factors podcast and Susie Broadbent's nominations were highly commended by the judges. So, congratulations to all, especially to the joint winners of the Communication Award, HSIB and Martin Anderson. Cheers.
Looks like we might have done it this time. Congratulations, Catherine and Martin. Martin, I know you're in Australia at the moment, and I don't think they're pyjamas, but they could be. But anyway, congratulations.
Not quite. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, it is. It's just gone 1:30 in the morning, so I'm probably not communicating very well at the minute. The website takes quite a bit of work, and so it's really good that people send me feedback to say that they find it useful. So all I'll say really is thank you to everyone that does support the site, because that helps keep me motivated to keep on writing material. And so thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. I think we've just lost Catherine there. Let me just see if we can get her back again. No, never mind. Okay, well, we did see you there, Catherine, so that's great news, and great to see you, Martin. Congratulations to both winners. And I say this is an award that I think is growing in popularity. We're seeing more people applying for it, and there's some great communication out there. So thank you for that.
Okay, Tina, thanks for that. Have we got another video playing in the background? I can hear something. Okay, it's just my system. Okay. What I would say, Tina, is that I could have given any one of those shortlisted an award. And I also know we had loads of entries from people that have been translating our documents in other languages, in Persian, in French, in Spanish, and it's been just brilliant to see that. So I think next year we might have to break down the categories, actually, if we carries on like that. Anyway, on to our next award. We now move to a joint award called Risk Reduction Through Design. The Institute supports the Health and Safety Executive in helping to attract entries and in judging nominations for this award, which encourages businesses to use human factors in innovative ways to reduce risk of musculoskeletal disorders. The Health and Safety Executive, Ali Wellens, chair of the judging panel, will tell us more right now.
I'm in the fortunate position of being involved in judging for a unique award that recognises the really important contribution that design changes can make to reducing risks associated with musculoskeletal disorders. The Risk Reduction Through Design Awards are now in their 4th year and are jointly sponsored by the HSE and the Chartered Institute of Ergonomics and Human Factors.
They're intended to highlight the important contribution that design changes can really make to reducing risks of musculoskeletal disorders, and they give recognition to businesses and reward design changes that have made a real impact to the lives of workers. Winners from past years have come from sectors such as construction, healthcare and transport. And this year we saw entries from a variety of areas such as textiles, food, chemicals, banking, construction and housing sectors. And given the scope of the award, there was no surprise at the breadth of nominations. The winning entry really impressed the judges and captured the brief by providing a simple and really effective engineering solution, which also helped the problem of a repetitive and fiddly manual task. It's a brilliant example of a collaborative design approach that's reduced musculoskeletal risk, reduced costs, and increased comfort for all workers. So without further delay, this year's winner is Herbert Parkinson. We'll now hear more about this great project.
I was approached by partners working in the packing area. Partners were using their hands and fingers to manually insert the hooks into the curtains, but after a bit of networking, I was put in touch with David, who came to have a look at our current situation in the hope of coming up with a solution. David worked with the team to ensure that the design was right for them, and also productivity has also increased. The hooks are so much easier to insert, and partners are no longer having any pain in their hands and fingers.
With this device, it's a lot easier and nobody suffers from sore fingers, sore hands or anything. And it's very, very handy.
Hi, Dave Atherton here, design engineer at iGo Design. When asked by Herbert Parkinson to devise a device that would help alleviate hand injuries on the contract curtain line, I decided quite quickly that a small hand tool would be the most cost-effective and time-effective device to use. Within 3 weeks, I delivered a prototype for trials on the production line. The tool was a great success and operators were very enthusiastic. The final production tool has been shown, manufactured from stainless steel, 3D iron prints and 2 neodymium magnets.
Hi, I'm Deborah, the Health and Safety Representative for the department where this device is used. We're so excited to have won this award. It's fantastic news. As a team, we've put in a lot of time and effort into trialling the device before we finally decided on a design. It's totally eliminated the pain in our fingers and hands, so we use it in everyday production now, so fantastic news.
Well, I think we do have somebody in our audience from Herbert Parkinson. I saw them in the chat earlier on, but I can't find them now. But if they'd like to just say hello at the bottom, then that would be great. But well done. It's a great example of ergonomics in action, really, and how an apparently simple tool can really make a huge difference to people.
Okay, brilliant and well done for that award. And thank you, Ali Wellings from the Health and Safety Executive for introducing that.